Hello everyone, I am Shweta from Commerce Department, Gopal Swami PU College, Mysuru. Today in this session, we are going to discuss about first PUC accountancy syllabus. We need to understand the need of accounting. Why we need accounting? Just you assume you have a bakery and you bake the best cream cake in the Mysore city, and it is very famous in the Mysore city. As the business improves, you have decided to open a new branch near to the Mysore city. For opening a new branch, again you need finance. For this, you have decided to go to the bank and ask them for loan of rupees 10 lakh. The loan officer asks you a question about how much profit you made this year. You don't know. You say it was maybe around 3 to 4 lakh. And again, loan officer asks you a question about how much your assets are worth. You have no idea about your assets which are used in your business. Again, the loan officer asks you a question about what is your cash flow in the each month and how much debt you have. You don't even know what that means. So all these happen because you have no financial information about your bakery, and the actual thing is you don't even have an accountant. If you have a separate accountant, he can maintain your accounting records and he can record each and every transaction your business, and then we can easily get to know the profit or loss at the end of the accounting year. So for this purpose, we need accounting. If you record each and every transaction of the business, then we can easily borrow loan from any bank by submitting accounting records and required documents. So we need to record each and every transaction of the business in our books of account. Transaction means an activity or an event that involves finance or the exchange of monies or monies worth between a person. For example, if you pay salary to the worker of rupees 5,000, then it will be considered as transaction. If an activity involves finance, then such activity will be called as financial transaction. If you pay salary to the workers of rupees 5,000, then it is considered as transaction. If you pay wages of rupees 200 to the workers, then it is considered as a transaction. If you receive interest from the bank of rupees 1,000, then it will be considered as transaction. By recording each and every transaction of the business, we can easily find out the profit or loss at the end of the accounting year, and whatever the expenses or incomes occur during the accounting year. So for this purpose, we need accounting. So now let's discuss about first PUC accountancy syllabus. And here your first PUC accountancy syllabus can be divided into two parts. One is part 1 and part 2. And each part have separate textbooks. And part 1 consists of total 8 chapters and part 2 consists of total 5 chapters. Total you have 13 chapters in your accountancy subject. Now let's discuss one by one. Part 1 textbook called Financial Accounting, and this financial accounting consists of total 8 chapters. The first chapter is Introduction to Accounting. This introductory chapter deals with the meaning, nature, need, scope and role of accounting and basic terms of accounting. Total 3 marks allotted to this chapter in your examination. Out of total 3 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question and 2 mark 1 question. The next is chapter 2, Theory Base of Accounting. This chapter consists of accounting principles, concepts, rules and guidelines developed over a period of time to bring uniformity and consistency in the process of accounting. And for this chapter, total 3 marks allotted in your examination. Out of 3 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question and 2 mark 1 question. The next, chapter 3, Recording of Transactions 1. This is very important chapter. In this chapter, we will discuss the details of each step involved in the accounting process. The first step in accounting process is identifying the transactions or to be recorded. Once you identify the transaction to be recorded, where do we record? It should be recorded in the original books of entry called journal, and they must be posted to the individual accounts in the principal book called ledger. And in this chapter, you can expect 12-mark question from the journal topic. And for this chapter, total 21 marks is allotted. So out of 21 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question, 2 mark 1 question, 6 mark 1 question, and 12 mark 1 question. Here you are going to solve the problem of 12 marks from journal topic. Next, chapter 4, recording of transaction 2. In the third chapter, we will learn the entries which are identified or recorded in the books of entry called journal, and they must be posted into the ledger account. The small business are able to record all its transaction in one book called journal, but as the business expands, the number of transactions will become quite large. So it is very difficult to record all the transaction in one book called journal. So for this purpose, journal can be subdivided into special journals called cash book, purchase return book, sales return book, and journal proper. So for example, all the cash transactions are recorded in one book called cash book, and the sales book is used to record all the credit sales transaction, and all the credit purchase transaction are recorded in another book called purchase book, because many of the business transaction are of repetitive in nature. We cannot record all the transaction in one book. For this purpose, journal can be divided into special journals called cash book, purchase book, sales book, and sales return book, and so on. And for this chapter, total 25 marks allotted in your examination. Here, out of 25 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question, 6 mark 2 questions. So total you will expect 12 marks from section C in this chapter, and again 12 mark 1 question. So total you can expect 25 marks from this chapter. The next, chapter 5, bank reconciliation statement. Usually, cash book is maintained by the owner of the business, whereas passbook is maintained by the bank. Why banks issue passbook, or why bank maintains passbook? Because it enables the customer to check their funds in the bank regularly, and at the same time, cash book is also help the businessman to know about the cash receipts and the cash payments made during the particular accounting period, and these must be show same balance. But in practice, these are usually found to be different, and the differences between the cash book and the passbook is caused by two factors. One is the time differences of recording transactions, and the second one is if it is some errors made by the businessman or by the bank. So due to these causes, there is some differences between the cash balance and the bank balance. So all these we will learn in this chapter, and in this chapter we can expect 12 marks problem, and it is very easy problem and very important problem. And here for this chapter, total 14 marks allotted in your examination. Out of 14 marks, you can expect 2 mark 1 question and 12 mark 1 question. The next, chapter 6, trial balance and rectification of errors. And this chapter explains the meaning and the process of preparation of trial balance, types of errors, and its rectification. The trial balance is very important statement in the accounting process, as it shows the final position of all the accounts, and it also helps in preparing final statements. And for this chapter, total 9 marks allotted. Out of 9 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question, 2 mark 1 question, and 6 mark 1 question. The next chapter is chapter 7, depreciation, provision, and reserves. This chapter deals with two different topics, that is depreciation and provision and reserves. Depreciation means decrease in the value of an asset, and later we will learn about depreciation, provision, and reserves. So for this chapter, total 14 marks allotted. Out of 14 marks, you can expect 2 mark 1 question and 12 mark 1 question. So here you can expect 12 mark problem from the depreciation topic. Here there are two methods of calculating depreciation. The first one is straight line method and the second one is diminishing balance method. The next chapter 8, bills of exchange. Bills of exchange is an instrument of credit issued by the seller to the buyer, and this instrument of credit used in a situation when the goods are sold on credit. So for this chapter you can expect total 13 marks. Out of 13, 1 mark 1 question and you can expect 12 mark 1 question. So total 8 chapters are covered under part 1 financial accounting. So in part 1 you can score total 60 marks by referring only 3 chapters, that is nothing but recording of transaction 1, recording of transaction 2 and bank reconciliation statement. Now let's move on to the part 2, that is accountancy. So in part 2 accountancy, which covers total 5 chapters, chapter 9 financial statements 1. In this chapter we will discuss the nature of financial statements, differences between capital items and revenue items, and the format of trading account, profit and loss account and balance sheet. And for this chapter total 8 marks allotted, and out of 8 marks you can expect 2 mark 1 question and 6 mark 1 question. The next chapter 10 financial statements 2, and chapter 10 covers only theory relating to the problems which are solved in the financial statements 2. In chapter 10 financial statement we will solve the problems. Every concern wants to measure periodically the performances of its activities in terms of profit or losses. In order to ascertain such profit or loss and to assess the final position of its assets and liabilities, we have to prepare financial statement. With the help of the financial statement, we can easily find out the profit or loss of the business at the end of the accounting period, as well as we can easily find out the financial position of assets and liabilities of the business. For this chapter, total 13 marks allotted. Out of 13 marks, you can expect 1 mark 1 question and 12 mark 1 question. The next chapter 11, accounts from incomplete records. In this chapter we will learn the method of finding out profit or loss and as well as the financial position from the accounts of incomplete records. For this chapter total 19 marks allotted in your examination. So out of 19 marks you can expect 1 mark 1 question, 6 mark 1 question and 12 mark 1 question. The next chapter 12, application of computers in accounting. In this chapter we will learn the need for the use of computers in accounting and the nature of accounting information system. The next, and for this chapter total 3 marks allotted. Out of 3 marks you can expect 1 mark 1 question and 2 mark 1 question. The next chapter 13, computerized accounting system. Nowadays there is a need for reducing paperwork and this can be achieved only with the help of the computerized accounting system. Computerized accounting system means it is a software that helps business to manage the big financial transactions, data, reports and statements with high efficiency, speed, better accuracy and minimum errors. So in this chapter we will learn the nature of a computerized accounting system and its advantages and disadvantages. And for this chapter total 7 marks allotted in your examination. Out of 7 marks you can expect 1 mark 1 question and 6 mark 1 question. The question may like this: explain the nature of computerized accounting system, or explain the merits of computerized accounting system, or explain the demerits of computerized accounting system. You can expect only theoretical question from this chapters. So there are 5 chapters are covered under part 2 accountancy. So these are all the accountancy syllabus of your first PUC. Now let's move to the question paper pattern. And your first PUC accountancy question paper can be divided into 5 sections as section A, section B, section C, section D and section E. And in section A, there are 10 questions. Out of 10 questions, you have to answer only 8 questions and each question carries 1 mark. So total 8 marks allotted to the section A. The next, in section B, there are 8 questions given. And out of 8 questions, you are supposed to answer only 5 questions and each question carries 2 marks. The total 10 marks allotted to the section B. And the section A and section B contains only theoretical questions. The next, section C. Here in the section C, there are 7 questions given. Out of 7 questions, you have to answer only 4 questions. Each question carries 6 marks and total 24 marks allotted to the section C. The next, section D. Here also there are 7 questions given in your question paper. Out of 7 questions, you are supposed to answer only 4 questions. Each question carries 12 marks. So the total marks of section D is 48 marks. The next, section E. So it is a practical oriented section. Practical oriented question means in accountancy, without using calculator, we can do this. The question may like this: draw a diagram of accounting process, or prepare a trial balance with 10 imaginary figures, or draw a block diagram of components of computer, and so on. So for answering these questions, definitely we don't need any calculator. So that will be known as practical oriented questions. In section E, there are 3 questions given. Out of 3 questions, you have to answer only 2 questions and each question carries 5 marks. The total marks allotted to the E section is 10 marks. You can easily score 10 marks in practical oriented section. So this is your question paper pattern. I'll tell you, anybody can score 100 out of 100 in accountancy subject. So I hope today's session will helpful to you and I wish all the best to all the first PUC students who are joined commerce. Thank you.